Welcome back to Beyond the Singularity, where we speculate, percolate, and exasperate all things science fiction. I'm your host, Kyle Culver, gaming as Diabetic Gamer, and you are listening to Episode 7. This episode is a bit special to me because I talk with none other than SIRIAN Gaming, a YouTuber covering gaming news and tutorials, as well as streaming those games, or at least that's what he used to do. I'm sorry if you came here for any insight on what happened to SIRIAN. I am in the dark just as much as you are, and that's the biggest reason why I'm releasing this episode. SIRIAN disappeared from the internet in the late November of last year, 2017. Since then, his YouTube channel has been taken down, and all that remains as of this recording is his VR YouTube channel and a few clips on his Twitch channel. I would have put this episode up sooner, except I ran into so many technical problems that forced me to spend countless hours in editing just to bring the audio up to a coherent quality sound. I never had the chance to re-record another conversation with SIRIAN, so I tried really hard to salvage what I could. Nonetheless, I really enjoyed our conversation we had last year, which took place after the end of Season 1 of Awakened Titan and after the release of Atlas Rises. I first met SIRIAN in a Twitter message. He told me he received a comment on one of his Awakened Titan recap videos stating that it was copying my own recap videos. He reassured me he had no intention of copying my style or whatever, and I reassured him that I did not care. Seriously, just do your own thing. But thanks to this misconception, we were able to start a wonderful friendship, which eventually led to this interview. We talk about his video work, why he started his channel, memorable moments from Season 1 of Awakened Titan, as we guess where it might go in conjunction to No Man's Sky. We also talk about his future content and how he wants to engage more with the community side in his videos and streams, all while finding his own unique method to stand out from other notable content creators.
I make No Man's Sky and some Elite Dangerous videos, and I focus on, I've really liked getting into photo mode and kind of getting cinematic, I guess you could say, with my videos, and just talking about the development of the game, Waking Titan in the process, and streaming, because it's really fun playing the game and just getting that kind of interaction with everyone.
You've also been creating informative videos like tutorials and also even covering indie developers as well. When did you decide to cover all that?
Accidentally turned into that. It started off with the news whenever the game was in development, which is the obvious way to go, but there was just so much I wanted to do, and I just figured why not limit myself and just do whatever I thought was fun at whatever moment.
Totally. I'm curious, what's your process? How do you go from concept to creation with your videos?
Well, it starts out at my main job. I just kind of throughout the day think of what I want to do in the afternoon whenever I get home. And that's kind of the course of plotting where the video is going to go and what I'm going to talk about. And then once that comes about, I'll either write some quick notes. I've strayed away from doing a full script. I kind of outline what I want to talk about and then just hop into the game, capture some footage, and edit it all together, and that's kind of how it happens. It's kind of a mix between I schedule the videos I want, as in I want to talk about these topics maybe in this week, maybe in the future, but for the most part, it's just spontaneous. I want to do this today and go with the flow and see where it leads.
Okay, so some prep, but mostly spontaneous. I mean, that's fun. Do any of your videos spawn more ideas for future videos? Or maybe some comments influence a thought to do something like photo mode?
Yeah, every now and then. Sometimes maybe a certain topic could lead into something similar. I wish I could pull a specific example, but there were a few videos where I would talk about one topic and I would see there was so much more to go into, so there would be a sequel video to follow up on that. And
kind of like photo mode.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's switch gears. We've been stuck into this Waking Titan. Phase 3 completed last week, right?
Hmm.
How did you get involved? What did you? When did you first hear about Waking Titan?
Um, I thought about this, and the thing about it is, I don't know if this is technically considered Waking Titan, but when I first started was the first day those packages were sent to the Reddit moderators. So even though it sort of is an official Waking Titan, it was more of a gift from Hello Games to them. It is the link. It was the first link that we saw with No Man's Sky Waking Titan. So that's really where I got into it. And ever since then, it was just,
So you were into Waking Titan before anyone knew it was Waking Titan.
in a way.
Yeah, because those cassette tapes that were sent out to the moderators were used in the puzzles that came after all of that.
Yeah, they were. With Cobras mainly. That was the one where the big puzzle came in.
Right, that was kind of like the connection that confirmed Hello Games was indeed behind this thing.
Yep.
I don't even remember the puzzle that we had to do for Cobra's tape, but it ended up being several ciphers to unlock a glyph or something crazy.
Yeah, something like that. Something crazy like that.
I'm curious about how you would describe Waking Titan. Like, what is it when you
Hmm.
when you hear someone say Waking Titan? What's kind of the first thing that pops into your head?
Apart from the simple answer of an ARG, from what I could gather, this could be completely different from what it is. Oops, I'm sorry about that. This could be completely different from what it really is, but it kind of seems to be some sort of prequel to the universe in No Man's Sky, sort of our connection to what could possibly happen in the future if we had some crazy AI create a simulated universe that leads us into it in some way. But outside of just that, it was seems like a way for Hello Games to communicate to us, which Sean Murray kind of said at the end, and just them thanking us with some crazy puzzles of all things.
Oh, the puzzles. We got the ones that directed us from point A to point B, some ciphers here and there, with a lot of them pointing towards portals.
Yes.
But with each puzzle, I felt like there was no actual conclusion. Like, it just kept going. And I guess
Yes.
there's some sort of beauty in that, because No Man's Sky is kind of the same way, where it's completely open-ended, and there really is no finish. Yet. Did you ever get frustrated at all? Like, just looking at all these puzzles and going through them, and that they were all extremely vague? Did you get any kind of, that it didn't give any kind of answers and really could have been more, say, satisfying?
I think the main point of that was the ending, because they took a little while to say that this was the end of like phase 3. The live stream went on for so long, and at the end of it, I can't remember exactly how it ended. Did we get a message from Emily? And then it took a few hours for us to get an official word that this was the end, and we're going to get a message from SM, whoever that might have been.
Right.
But that was probably the moment where it's like we didn't really know it was finished.
Yeah.
So that's but apart from that, I don't think so. I agree with you on the fact that it was so open-ended at points, where there were little things we found on like Super Lumina and Myriad that never really went anywhere. So it's open-ended, so it could come back and maybe we could use it later, especially since we don't have all the glyphs. But yeah, it's really strange. But
Well, there were certainly themes throughout the ARG. RGB, the hexadecimal to ACII conversions, and so many other kinds of conversions with binary and whatnot. The RGB thing was around a lot, actually. I think it was present in each sequence.
yeah, where the hexadecimal conversion to the color, right? Or it was a color code linked with something.
On one of the sites, there were glitched dots in the photos that ended up being Morse code, and those images had a color palette of red, green, and blue.
Mm-hmm.
As well as the author of the site, whose initials were RGB, and then giving a numerical value to each of them, giving another color.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like keeping these themes is a good way to let us know that, hey, this is going to be a recurring thing, and you should look for it in future puzzles, you know?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Like I said, it's one of those open-ended things that you could be put up for interpretation. I also think about the survey they sent out, and honestly, I can't see these puzzles getting any more difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, Alison Smith has gone to such great lengths and incredible detail to deliver these puzzles we've been getting so far, and I find it hard for them to be acquiring more content or domain space or whatever you want to call it to continue the story. Like, how do you even top this, you know?
An update to No Man's Sky.
Exactly. We'll get to that in a second. Waking Titan certainly has been unique, but what were some of the most funny or most memorable moments during these months? Like, when I mention Waking Titan, what are some of the funniest things that come to mind?
Probably the moment that the first live stream went up. Just the panic and excitement that everyone felt. It was like, I don't know about you, I don't know about everyone else, but I never expected to see a live stream with the entire thing.
Totally not.
So, yeah, if anything, that's the first thing that would come to mind. So, yeah, probably that. Well, at one point, one of the moderators replied to me, and their name was like Codex 13. Codex 13, and then there was another one, and I can't remember. I think their name was Artemis. So it freaked me out because I thought I didn't realize it was Game Detective moderators that had been asked to moderate the chat. So I didn't know what was going on. But then Waking Titan actually replied to me in the chat at one point. I don't remember exactly what was said, but it wasn't anything like groundbreaking, like, oh, I don't know. It was just something simple, but that was another moment where I was like, oh, wow, you know?
Any other moments that kind of come to you?
You mentioned funny earlier, and at first I didn't think I could think of any really funny moments. And you're gonna have to correct me if I'm wrong on this, but did the chat in the live stream at the end name the guy Bob, or was his name revealed at some point?
So Robert is actually an intern with Alison Smith, and the chat just threw out the name Bob when his real name was actually is Bob. I talked with one of the Game Detectives moderators, and they said, well, they had been part of the testing of this ARG since the alpha stages, and they said they had an intern that they would continuously talk to, that would frequently talk to, whose name was Bob. Now, I feel like how it went down was that everyone saw Bob on screen, and this mod just kind of threw in the name Bob, and then chat picked up on it, not really knowing it was his real name. I mean, don't quote me on that, but that makes sense to me as far as context.
Because what happened was whenever I noticed it, whenever the screen said something Bob, everyone started freaking out in the chat as if
we influenced that name. Yeah.
They caught on in the chat and they changed it at the end to say that. But
so at the end of the phase, we get an email with a message from Sean saying Waking Titan is over and an update is coming soon. Knowing Waking Titan is over, how did that make you feel? What did you think?
Very relieved.
Yeah.
Especially after a weekend like that. Yeah, I think that's about it. Just relieved. Like I said, I loved it. But after such a large event like that, it's like there either had to have been a long break or that was it. Like you said, it seemed like you almost can't imagine it getting more difficult. So it's like, how could they top something like that? So I felt like that was a fitting end to it. So after that, it was like, okay, we're good to kind of chill out.
Finally get some sleep.
Yes.
Lay off the coffee and donuts a little bit.
I still haven't gotten much sleep, but I don't know about you.
No, ever since the update, I've been either playing No Man's Sky or helping my wife with dinner.
I'm in the same group.
I actually can't even record any footage right now. Or rather, I don't want to. I don't want to spend several minutes getting, 8 takes of this one thing. I just want to play the game. I want to figure it out. I want to...
Yeah.
Then I can get into recording something. I have plenty of ideas, but I'm just really enjoying the game right now.
That's how I felt. I did the live stream right after it had happened. Well, right after it was released. That night I was debating whether or not I should live stream, and I was like, no, I'll just go and play on my own because I don't know about you, but I love the story.
Yeah.
And I restarted, so I had a lot of catching up to do.
Yeah, and now there's like 20 more hours of story.
Yeah. And there's a lot of new things with the story that was already released with the questing systems for the people in the base.
Oh, right.
So there's a lot going on with that. So it's kind of like an incentive to start over, but I had already planned on doing it. And this whole week same thing. I was thinking about what videos I could make and kind of figuring things out. But at the same time, all I wanted to do is sit down and play the game because I just had loved what they had released. So spoiler, I guess you could say, I made a let's play because I was like, I want to make a video, but I also want to play the game. What do? My first official let's play, I guess you could say. I've done it before, but this one's a little different. So we'll see how it goes.
Oh, so you haven't released it yet.
No, it's in a process of being edited right now. So
It'll probably come out by the time this interview is.
yeah, it'll be out.
Where do you think the ARG will go, if anywhere, and how it connects to the story of No Man's Sky? Like we saw in the email, they said Waking Titan is over, but some were saying we'll see a continuation at some point.
It's kind of, yeah, it's like they kind of said it was finished. Well, it might have a different name, maybe, since they have said that Waking Titan is finished. But there's definitely things that haven't been completed, like the glyphs are the major thing. So maybe once the bug fixes are completed, because Hello Games has that cycle where it's update, bug fixes, silence, repeat. So maybe month or two they might pick it back up. Oh, and then Emily did say she would return.
Oh yeah, I'm super curious about her story.
Yeah, so something is going to happen. As far as whether it is to the extent of Waking Titan, I don't know, and I don't know whether I want that or not because it got very in depth. But I do hope that it does come back and possibly be more involved with No Man's Sky in the form of some sort of gameplay too. That's my hope, at least.
Maybe the ARG can run parallel to the No Man's Sky universe. Now, I like seeing the implementation of the community directly into the game.
Yes. With are you referring to the mission systems now?
Yeah.
I love that. What was it? Galactic Hub, Deep Thought.
Yeah, Deep Thought, and I remember seeing some others too.
Alliance of Travelers, right?
And even in the Who Is directory in the Waking Titan console,
Yeah,
we see some input that gives some history of the community from the past year. Like that one player who walked around the entire planet really early in the game's launch. Was that
Steambot.
just walking? Yeah, Steambot.
Funny story about Steambot.
Yeah.
Steambot followed me on Twitter, and I felt like a celebrity had followed me, and it was one of like the coolest moments ever. So yeah, that random, but I just thought about that.
He's great. He's super enthusiastic about the game and the community.
Really, I have yet to talk to Steambot, so I should probably do that.
Yeah. He's just like anybody else in the community of No Man's Sky. When you talk to them, it's in their voice. You can hear it.
Yeah.
There's just this love, whatever that may be for the player, of the game, and just being in there doing what they want.
Yeah.
There are so many different kinds of people focused on so many different aspects of the game.
To say there were so many people saying that the game was dead and there wasn't anything to do, but there were so many people that also stuck with it, saying that we still love it regardless. Ourselves, I don't know if you include yourself in that group, but it's like there's something that people can find interesting, whether it be the exploration aspect or just getting into the game and relaxing to some very nice scenery. I love doing that. So yeah, it's like I agree. There's always something you can find in it that you just latch on to. And a year later, we're still here. Who knows where it's going to take in the future, but I'm pretty sure a majority of us will still be here. So I really want to see where they take the game.
Yeah, even if they just have this update for the next year, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's talk about your involvement with the community. A bit of a leader in the No Man's Sky community, whether you like it or not, and I guess the gaming community in general.
I guess you could say that.
Dude, come on. You got
like us, I'm a very humble person, so it's like
that southern trait.
I make videos of a game I enjoy, and people enjoy it.
That's, yeah. I like making videos for people who enjoy them.
Exactly.
But I'm a selfish guy, and typically I make videos for myself.
That's the way it should be.
Yeah.
Enjoy it, and yeah.
Yeah, and if I enjoy it, then I feel like my work will be enjoyed elsewhere.
Exactly.
Because I have this level of attention to detail that can not only be appreciated, but be picked up by the average user, if but just subliminally, you know.
I think you can see that. I'm pretty sure everyone that's watched your videos can see that.
Good. I always need a reason for everything I create and edit. With gaming, it's different.
Mm-hmm.
I have this detail-oriented point of view, but I don't have to make sense of everything in the frame.
Yeah.
Why this should go there, why that should go there, what the color palette should be and whatnot. I mean, growing up, I grew up with 3 other siblings, and we all had a lot of single-player games hooked up to the TV. So often, I would be watching them play a game, and it has always been this wonderful memory or pastime for me.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I kind of enjoy watching other people play games. I mean, call it nostalgia or whatever, but it's comforting and it's interesting to me.
And it's funny that you mentioned that, because I know once Let's Plays started to really grow and there were so many opportunities branching off of that, it also led to many people questioning, is it really a form of entertainment? And, a lot of people just bashing it because it made no sense to them. But now that you say it, it kind of connected in my mind. That's what a lot of people grew up doing. Like, I have a brother, we both had different consoles. We would both go play each other's console, and we would watch each other play different games. So it kind of stems back to childhood and watching someone next to you play a game. And yeah, I just never made that connection until you said that. I think that's kind of I don't want to say struggle. I think that's kind of the wrong word to use for this, but just something that most YouTubers and streamers go through, where they have to figure out their own way of getting around things and how they can stick out from everyone else. Some people don't worry about that, but I think about that. What can I do differently, and how can I implement it? So like I said, it's probably not everyone, but
what are some things you think about when you mentioned wanting to connect more with the audience? I mean, is that something?
Yeah. Let me take a step back, because, well, the thing about No Man's Sky is, even though it's oddly very popular, even though no one seemed to have wanted to admit that, there weren't that many content creators making videos or streams about it. So there was a better chance to do something differently. And I kind of got lucky with that, because I might be wrong, but whenever I started, there was Elka and Cobra, and that might have been it, apart from the major news outlets covering the game. So it's kind of going in and looking at what everyone else is doing, trying to figure out something different that I could do, but also something that I'm interested in. That way I'm not just making videos on something just to make videos on something.
Mm-hmm.
And that also comes into the community aspect of it. And I've stated this a couple of times, where Waking Titan brought everyone together. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to see that go, because there were a lot of great things that happened from that. So that's kind of where I want my channel to focus in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Still be the spontaneity that I have now, where one thing might be different one day than it is tomorrow. But the majority of it is, I want to, highlight some of the community. What is this group doing that this other group isn't? And yeah, what makes them unique? So it'll still be my own take on the game and what's happening, but there'll also be that separate section where, hey, No Man's Sky Quest. Have you heard about that? Just spotlighting different people and what they do, because there are so many people that do awesome things. One example, because I like mentioning this, I didn't know about this group until I was on a podcast with Cobra. I don't know if you've heard about them, the Geknip Gang.
Mhm.
They do permadeath death matches. And I had never thought of that, but it is one of the most unique concepts I had heard for a game that didn't have multiplayer.
Yeah.
And I just want to talk about stuff like that because people are so creative with what they do. So
Yeah.
I look forward to incorporating that in the community and then seeing what the rest of the community is doing too. So we'll see how that goes.
If it wasn't for Waking Titan, I wouldn't know about all of these groups doing their thing in No Man's Sky. I only wish I had known about them sooner.
Me too.
That there actually were these kinds of groups. If I'd known, I probably would have been more active with these groups.
Yeah.
If just to see what they're doing and see if I can get involved. It's really all thanks to Waking Titan. Suddenly I found myself finding these different fan-made groups and embedding myself in there. Because I'm off in my own little world, enjoying the game, exploring the universe, all on my lonesome.
Yeah.
Was community a thought when you started making videos?
I kind of, in a way, not that I didn't take part in the community at all, because I love interacting with the viewers and kind of seeing what everyone else is doing and trying to be part of that. But I knew that that was what Cobra was doing. So not that I wasn't keeping that away. It's just he did it well. I'm going to try to do something different. The first kind of step into adding it into the channel was probably after the foundation update, because another YouTuber, Just Jared, we were talking and we wanted to do a base showcase because base building had just been added. And that's when we started working together. And actually, no, it goes back farther than that, because I had done a few collaborations with Peaceful Gamer. And
What was that exactly?
we just talked about the game. He had before the game released, he had a very unique interpretation of what No Man's Sky could have been, because he's so zen and everything. So he was looking at it from a more meditative standpoint, I guess you could say. And I really just wanted to hear him talk about it. So that's how our video went. We talked about what we expected from the game and what we wanted to see.
Super insightful theories.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that video. But yeah, before that it was just getting together with other YouTubers and talking. But which is great, by the way. And where it began to branch out was mainly Waking Titan, because you start to see the other communities and see what everyone's doing. And I just wanted to be involved in that in some way and spread the word. So that's going to be the next step in the channel, is to try to do something of that sort.
Would you say... Oh, no, because you actually did. Waking Titan is the next thing that brought the community together. Yeah. And I was definitely one of those people. I went into the puzzles with everyone else and figuring it all out together, gathering info and all that. And then you have those citizen scientist designations. Say I throw on Twitter that I'm this designation and someone sees it and says, hey, that's mine too. You get to talking and suddenly you've made a new friend. It's so funny to think about. We don't even know what the designations are for. but we bonded. And it's all thanks to Waking Titan.
It's great to see everyone come together and to see how diverse the community is for something like No Man's Sky, where everyone thought it was something so simple, but we all have our different spin of what it is and what we enjoy about it, and it shows.
Were you ever active on eTark? Soon to be the Atlas forums? I know we're talking about discovering all these communities, but the eTark forums were sort of the centralized spot for the community during Waking Titan. It was the first line of communication, in a way, opened up to us.
I I'm very weird with forums in a sense. Like I love forums, but I'm more of a lurker.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
So you see everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was involved here and there, but I was always checking it out. That was kind of the go-to for me also whenever something new happened, was to go on eTart because I felt like that was kind of the main hub of things. So as far as finding communities, I don't think I necessarily found any different communities from it, but I did meet new people from it that I hadn't met before. So that was also a great way to branch from it. And I'm interested in seeing what they're going to do once they switch over, and how that's going to tie into either No Man's Sky. That's going to be awesome if it's a Hello Games sponsored thing. I had been hoping that there was some sort of forum sponsored by Hello Games since before the release. So it's
Right?
nice to
Just
see that little
somewhere to talk about the freaking game.
yeah.
Instead of, shouting people out on Twitter and trying to rummage through all the Reddit posts.
Yeah. There's a lot. Like I told everyone, it's been great getting to know everyone, and it's like if we ever had the chance to meet, it's like an instant friendship,
Years from now, we'll be at No Man's Sky convention. I'm going to see you, and the first thing I'm going to do is give you a hug.
I was about to say the exact same thing. Surprisingly, Legacy and I didn't do that because I don't know if you know, Legacy and I actually had a chance to meet each other at E3.
At E3?
Yeah, we met the first day for a couple minutes, and then the second day for a couple minutes, and he had to leave for the third day. And I was like, that was way too short. Next year is gonna be different.
I don't see Legacy as a hug.
Yeah, you're right.
It's more of like a high five, smack you in the face kind of guy.
Yeah, he snuck up on me, and I didn't notice the guy walking with a big GoPro. Well, not big GoPro, but a GoPro on a stick around. Somehow I didn't notice that, and I looked directly at him.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
SIRIAN Gaming may not be active anymore, but his impact on the No Man's Sky community has been felt. Many times I see comments questioning where he and his channel have gone, and many more times I wonder that myself. None of the other No Man's Sky content creators have heard anything from him since his silence in November. Sometimes life throws you a curveball, sometimes our health becomes a necessary priority of focus, and sometimes we find that what we really love isn't what we're doing at all. That our actual passion is elsewhere and yet to be discovered. Whatever the reasons are, I hope SIRIAN knows how much he's appreciated and how much I personally respect him for the work he's done and the friendship I am honored to share with him. These podcasts are just a small portion of what I create here, so feel free to browse the video library, and if you like what you see, consider subscribing to the channel. A big thank you to Jacob, who has allowed me to use his music in this episode of Beyond the Singularity. You can find his music on SoundCloud and other places that are linked in this post. And until next time, I'll see you beyond the Singularity, travelers.